Following a series of explosions last month, Columbia Gas of Massachusetts is working to restore natural gas service to customers in Greater Lawrence. But at least two state legislators from the region say the company's response, which has included a $10 million donation to disaster relief there, hasn't been enough. State Senator Eric Lesser has called for a full investigation. Meanwhile, State Rep Bud Williams wants Columbia Gas to participate in a series of public hearings held here in Western Massachusetts. Both joined Carrie Saldo in the studio to discuss more.
Well, explanations as to exactly what's going on, explanations to what their game plan is going forward, and how did we get where we are. And I'm very surprised, not surprised, but I have folks, probably Senator, you also have been calling me. People are really actually nervous about turning their stoves on. I mean,
people have emailed us saying, is X, Y, or Z safe, or is downtown Springfield safe? They think back to the explosion.
We had the explosion right on Worthington Street, but I'm very serious. I don't want to micromanage the answer, but you go to your kitchen stove and you turn it on, you're going to say, is it going to blow? That is a reality. How do we start going back and reassuring our citizens that everything is okay? But so far now, they've been very silent.
Yeah, they being Columbia Gas.
Columbia Gas has been very silent.
Have you reached out to them about this idea of having the public hearings here?
I probably reached out along with my colleagues from the senator and other reps, and their answer was that they weren't having any public meeting. I think on yesterday maybe they had a public meeting. I believe they had one yesterday meeting. But they've been very behind the scenes, closed door kind of corporation, and it has really, the public is really schizophrenic when it comes to Columbia Gas. Where are we? How do we get here? Going forward, what are we going to do? There's been no explanation. There's been like a code of silence.
And for Columbia Gas, for its part, we've reached out and asked for an individual interview with them. I think the general consensus coming from them is that, look, we're taking time to repair what has happened in the eastern part of the state. We're really focused on that. And then we'll address some of these other concerns. But Senator, you had called for the DPU, the Department of Public Utilities, to come in and hold an investigation statewide. Where does that stand?
Yeah, so shortly after our call, which was a bipartisan call, and several legislators joined us in that effort, we did hear from the DPU and that they are hiring an outside investigator to really do a complete review of the pipeline infrastructure in the state. I'm glad they're doing that, but the reality of it is Rep. Williams, myself, many people in Western Mass have been sounding the alarm on these gas leaks and on the lack of adequate maintenance of our infrastructure here for a very long time. Unfortunately, Springfield has not been immune from these issues. There was an explosion in downtown Springfield just a few years ago. And I think we really need answers from Columbia Gas, and they have been woefully inadequate in their response, and I think have not addressed this with the level of urgency that the public really expects.
And that outside evaluator that the DPU has said it will have or bring in, I imagine would then not only look at Columbia Gas, but National Grid. What about some of the smaller companies, say Berkshire Gas? I know it's not in your district, but Berkshire Gas in Western Massachusetts, and the Berkshires rather, or other smaller entities, would that fall under something like that?
Absolutely. I certainly hope it will. We'll confirm that. But from top to bottom, the whole pipeline infrastructure in this state is antiquated. It's leaking in many places. In fact, you can go online right now and find maps of leaks all over the state, all over our communities.
Yeah, they call them hotspots.
Exactly. Yes. So, there have been activists, there have been people in our community sounding the alarm on this. I'm gratified that now we're starting to see some progress, but quite frankly, it shouldn't take an emergency. It shouldn't take the explosions we saw in Lawrence and in Andover to get the kind of response, to get the kind of attention that we need. And I think it's worth pointing out, Carrie, that these incidents happen in Lawrence and in Springfield, two of the lowest income, most vulnerable communities in the state. And I don't think that's a coincidence, because what ends up happening is the leaks are falling on deaf ears. When constituents call us, when people try to sound the alarm about these concerns, there is often not an adequate response. There is often not adequate turnaround on the part of Columbia Gas to get the problem solved before there's an incident, rather than waiting for an emergency to happen
afterwards. So you think that they're deliberately ignoring lower income residents?
No, I didn't say deliberate, but there's clearly a pattern of neglect around these issues. And when we reach out to Columbia Gas, we often get the shrug off. And I think that enough is enough, quite frankly, and this needs to be a wake-up call for people that they need these companies, we need these utilities to be stepping up and doing the right thing.
Go ahead.
Just to chime in, what Senator's absolutely correct. You call Columbia Gas, and there's been many hot spots in the city of Springfield. When I was on the council, we worked on the hot spots. There's no sense of urgency with them. It's just no sense of urgency. I mean, what does it take? I mean, Lawrence, and all of a sudden, they're responding to that. Does another Lawrence have to happen before they really take this seriously?
But where is the state's role in all of this? I mean, is it time for more inspectors, more inspections?
I've called, we'll be calling for more state inspectors, also more inspectors for Columbia Gas. My understanding, they've been subcontracting.
Right.
They subcontract to another subcontractor who subcontracts to another subcontractor, which is what happened in Lawrence. People went on the ground in Lawrence, and my understanding, reported through the news, there are 8 inspectors. 8.
Statewide.
For Lawrence, 8. For Lawrence, 8.
Oh, for Lawrence specifically?
8.
Okay.
A city that size and that kind of problem.
You know, to chime in on this, absolutely there's a state role. DPU is the regulator. There needs to be stricter oversight. We've had efforts in the legislature to, for example, make sure that we're cracking down on the leaks, that we're getting resources where that needs to happen. But let's make no mistake, this is Columbia Gas's infrastructure. These are private companies, and the rates go to Columbia Gas. They don't go to the state. They have an obligation as a good corporate citizen, and frankly, to protect public safety, to make sure that their infrastructure is in good working order. I'll give you an example. When I worked for President Obama, I was there during the BP oil spill, and absolutely the Coast Guard, the federal government had an obligation to respond there, but it was BP's oil rig, and it was BP's spill, and they have an obligation to make sure that they're conducting their work and that they're collecting their money for that work in a way that's protecting the public. So there's plenty of blame to go around. I don't think anyone's trying to...
Columbia Gas is not alone. National Grid, this recently we saw
National
a call
Grid,
for a halt for all non-emergency work.
Right.
And one thing I want to make perfectly clear here, I hope Columbia Gas doesn't try and pass this hike to the ratepayers.
And that's something we've heard the governor speak about, A.G. Healy speak about.
We'll be adamant. I mean, this is it's on their dime. They should absorb all cost. Shouldn't pass it to the ratepayers. And I think the legislature, we have a responsibility, because they'll be coming in, they're doing new expansions, they're doing new programming and all this. We need to get the system straight.
What about current, I know this is something that you talked about, Senator Lesser, following what happened in Lawrence, current permits or projects that might be in the works, such as the metering station in Longmeadow?
Yeah, so there's active projects all over, all over the state, and certainly for Columbia Gas specifically, we're most familiar with Columbia Gas because our service area overlaps with the district. There is an active project for potentially building a metering station in Longmeadow. That may or may not be appropriate. I don't have all the answers at this juncture, but what I do know is we've got a lot of unanswered questions about the safety of Columbia Gas's infrastructure, and I think it's common sense that you don't start expanding infrastructure and you don't start building more until you know that the systems that you already have are safe and the leaks that have already been identified have been fixed. So what I called for, in the release that was sent out a few weeks ago is, look, we're freezing. I can't control it myself, but if it was up to me, and I'm going to call on DPU to freeze, the active permitting of new construction and of new projects until we get a handle on what's going on, because it's clear from what's been now studied about what's happened in Lawrence is there were warning signs along the way. And if we continue to look the other way or brush it under the rug as these warning signs come up, we're going to be in an even worse situation. So yes, the station in Longmeadow, there's expansion projects that they're proposing all over the place. Really, they need to be frozen and they need to be stopped until we get answers about the safety of the infrastructure.